Hello and welcome to Wilmington, Delaware. Today we are going to be riding back up to Philadelphia with SEPTA. Wilmington Station was first built in 1907 by the Pennsylvania Railroad and serves as Delaware's main Amtrak station. In 2019, the station served a total of 705,000 passengers, ranking it Amtrak's 11th busiest across the network. Heading across Front Street and inside, we're met with a rather disappointing station. Scattered throughout the area are benches for waiting passengers, with a convenience store and Amtrak and SEPTA ticketing desks along the walls. Despite the evening departure time, Amtrak's desk was open and operating, but SEPTA had closed up shop, and with no ticketing machine in sight, there was no way to buy a physical ticket ahead of departure. Wrapping around the Amtrak desks, passengers can find a very informative display on Wilmington's railway heritage. The display includes notes on rail development in the United States and Northeast, which rail lines served Wilmington, how the railway helped shape the industry in the city, and the architectural choices of station designer Frank Furness. We had a bit of time ahead of departure this evening, and it was a beautiful day, so I headed upstairs to enjoy the sunset. All signs on Platform 1 displayed an on-time departure for our train, SEPTA 2530 to Philadelphia. With some time left to kill, let's take a look at our route up to Philadelphia. Our ride begins turning north out of Wilmington, following the banks of the Delaware River and I-495 to the Delaware-Pennsylvania border. The tracks move further inland past the border, splitting the gap between Highway 291 and the Philadelphia International Airport, arriving at SEPTA's 30th Street station a little after sunset. We'll cover a total of 26 miles between Wilmington and Philadelphia today, with a travel time of 48 minutes. Sometimes the universe is on your side, because as the sun was nearing the most vibrant part of its descent, Acela 2126 rounded the north curve for what has to be the most beautiful arrival I've ever seen. Just enjoy this one. Though they're nearing the end of their service life, Acela train sets still look incredibly beautiful. The new train sets look good and will be a huge step forward for high-speed rail in the US, but nothing will ever replace America's first high-speed train. Having finished up its stop, Acela 2126 continues on to New York City. As 2126 makes its way out of Wilmington, our train pulls up to the high-level platform. Our ride up to Philly today is a set of Silverliner 5 EMUs manufactured by Hyundai Rotem in 2013. Climbing aboard, we head forward to find a seat for a view of the best feature of Silverliner 5s, a front-facing window. I just barely had time to get seated before our train heads out of Wilmington for our 48-minute ride up to Philadelphia. Seating on Silverliner 5s is really typical of any commuter rail seat. There's only around 3 inches between my knees and the seat back, with no other at-seat amenities to speak of. The upholstery is in quite good condition, even though these EMUs are a few years old, but as with most commuter trains, they opt for bench seats with no separation between passengers. Above the seats on either side of the train are luggage racks and coat hooks, although the former are quite shallow and difficult to reach from the central aisle. Passenger information is easily accessible, presented on multiple screens found throughout the train. Of course, the main feature we really care about is right in front of us, that awesome cab view. SEPTA's version of the Silverliner 5s feature half-width cabs, which leaves room for 2 more seats while providing an unobstructed view out of the front of the train. Unfortunately, the front 2 rows have been blocked off by the train staff and have been for a few years due to safety concerns. I may be seated a few rows back, but trust me, if it were available, I would have been first in line for that front row. Although speeds on the Northeast Corridor regularly reach 125, SEPTA's Silverliner 5s will only reach a maximum of 100 miles an hour. The frequent stops on SEPTA's route unfortunately means that we only hit 85 on today's ride, but it's still better than the typical 79 seen around the rest of the US. Speaking of trains that regularly hit 125, here comes one of Amtrak's Northeast Regionals, flying by en route to Washington, D.C. While we're enjoying the ride, why not hit that subscribe button? It's totally free and it really helps support the channel. If you want to go the extra mile with your support, then feel free to check out the channel's Patreon or become a channel member. Patrons and members get their names in the video, access to exclusive weekly posts, and even the opportunity to vote on future videos. If those perks pique your interest, then click the links in the top right or in the description below to learn more. Station stops on SEPTA are relatively quick, a fact helped in part by our late departure time. Even with quick stops, if you're in a rush, then Amtrak is definitely a better option, with trains having the travel time between Wilmington and Philadelphia. While we enjoy our journey up the corridor, let's take a look at some stats about our train. Taking us up to Philadelphia this evening is SEPTA Wilmington Newark Line Train 2530 and is operated by 2 Hyundai Rotem Silverliner 5 EMUs. Each Silverliner 5 is powered by Mitsubishi Electric's AC traction motors, producing 270 horsepower each. With 4 motors per car across each married pair, Silverliner 5s can produce a total of 2,160 horsepower. Silverliner 5s are designed for a top speed of 100 miles an hour and regularly operate at those speeds along the corridor. SEPTA's Silverliner 5 fleet includes a total of 120 cars with a combination of single cars and married pairs. Single coaches can seat 107 passengers, while married pair cars can seat 109. Heading out of Curtis Park, night sets in, which means our enjoyment of the front window has come to an end, the reflections from inside overpowering the views outside. Fortunately, we're nearing the end of our journey, our stop at Penn Medicine, the penultimate on our ride. Our conductor comes by to speak with the driver, leaving the cab door open on his way back down the train, which leaves us with a pretty sweet look at the train controls in action.
This stop, 30th Street Station. Watch for gap when exiting. Have your key card until passes ready.
We round the final turn and make our ascent into 30th Street Station, a fellow Silverliner 5 pulling away as we close in. Our train comes to a stop and we can alight into Philadelphia. Having completed its stop, train 2530 continues on towards Lansdale. Train now departed, we can make our way downstairs and through the turnstiles, where we'll bring today's video to a close. Next week, we'll be back in the Big Apple to take a look at the LIRR C3 coaches while riding between Penn Station and Babylon, New York. If you're new around here, I would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. It's totally free and it really helps support the channel. I also want to give a huge shout out and thank you to my patrons and channel members. I really cannot thank y'all enough for your incredible support. If you too want your name in the video or just want to support the channel in more ways than one, then head on over to the links in the description below. But anyways, that's all I have for today. Thanks for riding with me, and I'll see you in the next one.